So I am just on the BJJ Fanatics website, and what's amazing is now we've already talked about gravity is your friend, but there are 2 other instructionals that you might want to talk about.
Recently, I had the opportunity to work with BJJ Fanatics guy, and now we have 3 instructionals out there. We have escapes engineered for guys over 40. If you're 40 or more, hey, dig into it. Gravity is your friend. Sit-up sweeps. Been there for some time and is really, really getting a lot of attention. And then we have the smash the knee folding pass. Now, that's one of my favorites. So if you haven't looked at them, take a look. BJJfanatics.com.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we're live.
Here we go.
Hey.
I'm turning off my phone. Should have done that before we started, but here we go.
There you go.
All right.
Are you ready now?
Yes.
Can we start officially?
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
we did when you clapped your hand.
Hey.
I totally burned you just a couple seconds ago. Unfortunately, we weren't recording. I mean, it was my kids would have said roasted if they heard.
Yeah, too bad we were not recording that one.
It's like it never happened, right?
Yeah, we were talking about sacrifices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sacrificing my sanity.
You're the sacrificial lamb.
So, but that came up talking to Neil Melanson, though. He sacrificed parts of his body to keep coaching for his teammates and stuff. So,
so do you think that coaching or instructing or being in the leadership position is a sacrifice like position?
Not to get too hyperbolic. Is that the word I'm looking for about it? But I mean, you have to make sacrifices when you're giving your time, your energy, even if you're getting paid for it, up to others, right? Because that's, even if you love it, you're not focusing on yourself, you're focusing on other people at that point. So yeah, I think so a little bit, and there's probably grades of it. Some people sacrifice their time and they stand on the side and they look at what you're doing and they pinpoint things and tell you what you can improve on or what you're doing wrong. And then other people are right in the mix with you, getting beat up. So they're sacrificing their time, their own time on the mat when they could be progressing for you, So yeah, absolutely.
How do you think you are sacrificing?
Me?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, my sanity. Dealing with kids
This
all day,
episode-
and then
this episode is going places.
I'm dealing with the kids, and then with you. Is it really a sacrifice? I mean, at my level, what I'm doing, it's not very much at all. But when we're talking about people that are training high level competitors or professional fighters, then yeah, much more so.
So what would you consider a sacrifice?
Anytime you can't focus on yourself, your own improvement, your own goals, your own wants or needs, and then I think you're sacrificing something. Even if you love it and you find it enriching or fulfilling in some other way, you're not focusing on yourself, right? And I think that means if it's taking away from yourself and what you need or what you want, then yeah, you're making some sacrifices. That's all.
So if you take care of yourself, you're not sacrificing?
I don't think so. How could you be? It's all about you. I mean, okay, so yes, I take that back, because if you're focusing on yourself, you may be sacrificing relationships, free time. Like I said, it's all levels, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're coming in a couple times a week and having fun, then no, not really. But if you're coming in every day, twice a day, cutting weight, not going out with your friends, missing out on family functions. He talked a little bit about, he knows guys that love it so much they live poor. What does that mean? They train, they don't have jobs, they scrape by financially because they love fighting. They're not getting big purses. So yeah, if you look at it that way, absolutely sacrificing.
I don't know, the conversation with Neil kind of brought me to the point where I felt that we all sacrifice at some point somewhere all the time. I feel like we never get everything that we want or should.
Yeah, but
you got it.
What you want and what you think you should.
Well, here's
might be unrealistic expectations.
No, well, yeah, it could be. But this is where I'm going with this. This was my perception of after the conversation. I want to train twice a week. Then I have to give up those few hours a week of doing something else. So I'm sacrificing something.
Well,
if I want to train 4 times a week, then I have to sacrifice something else in addition to the other time.
Right.
If I want to watch TV, then I'll have to sacrifice the training. If I want to go and do a training camp, then I have to sacrifice time with the family and other things. Here's another example. I want to stay longer at work because I want that promotion. I got to sacrifice time with family. Or
sure,
I want the quality time with family. That means I have to sacrifice my work because that time won't be there. I don't know. It's just different perspective, but
I think a lot of it has to do with priorities. It's not I'm not sacrificing work if I want quality time with my family. And I'm not seeking a promotion. I'm just prioritizing and doing what I feel is right. If you're
interesting, okay.
If you're sitting on the couch and you're not doing anything and you want to be on the mats or you want to try a new hobby or you want to try getting in shape, well, then you're not sacrificing anything by getting up. You're just not wasting time because if you're looking for improvement,
it's a different perspective. Yeah, I see it. I see you looking at this from a perspective of if there is a point of useless time, you're not sacrificing it.
Right.
And I'm looking at it as you have to give something up in order for you to gain something else. So it's a give and take position.
Yeah. And if Marcio Cruz says
pizza and beer
Thursday night, the couch, pizza, football, beer. If you don't want those things because it is having any some sort of negative effect on you, then you're not sacrificing anything. You're stopping bad habits at that point. That's
Maybe.
what you see them as.
Maybe.
Now, if I love beer and pizza and hanging out with my friends on the couch and watching football more than I would like getting up and going to a gym or an academy or for a run or reading, then then you'd be sacrificing something, right? You're at that point. The useless time is only useless if you
don't care,
think it is.
Yeah.
Right. You yourself think it is.
Yeah.
Right. People talk about perception all the time. Somebody would look at that and say,
so sacrifice would only come in if you're giving something up that you care about.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can go with that.
Right.
I can go with that. Yeah, but considering that we're sitting on the couch and eating pizza and drinking beer and watching football, we do like that point. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting doing that, right? So
there's a lot of self-loathing that goes with that too. You're getting in the shower and you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh man, that Thursday night stuff's really.
I don't know. I see what you're saying. I do agree with it. I just think that if we have a habit that we're trying to break, the habit is stronger than us. So in order for us to break the habit, we do have to make some sacrificial actions to change those habits and get into new habits.
Well,
because
at
the end of the day, the time we would be doing A, we need to fill with doing B.
Right.
So we need to give that up. And in my mind, at least, I mean, feel free to disagree, everybody out there, but in my mind, you have to give that up. And in a sense of definition, you are sacrificing that and letting it go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I am giving up smoking, I don't feel I'm sacrificing anything in giving up smoking. I feel,
You're sacrificing the addiction, I don't know.
But that's bad. Those are bad things.
That's the way everybody does it.
Well, everybody does it for different. I mean, you get sucked into it for some reason, I mean, 30, well, when I was little 40 years ago and not too long before that, they were trying to convince you that smoking was good for you. So
let me spin it this way. If coming to jiu-jitsu or working out would not require sacrificing something else, why is not everybody doing it?
Because it's easy to do those other things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to sacrifice them. You need to give them up for the sense of having time to do this something else, to do jiu-jitsu, to go to the academy,
but at
to go
point,
working out.
What point do you look like a self-righteous fool when you're like, oh, I got to go to the gym or I got to go for a run and I can't eat whatever I want? Too bad, you crybaby. Like we've talked about this. My eating habits are awful. Am I sacrificing something because I'm eating right? No, I'm doing what's right. And if I'm if I'm wallowing in the fact that I can't go home and eat a sleeve of Oreos, I don't think that that's anything anybody would feel empathy for.
First of all, you don't need sleeve of Oreos, a whole box.
Well,
but
listen, they don't come in boxes. They come in those plastic wrappers that are really hard to open quietly while everybody's asleep. Doesn't matter how far your bedroom is away from the kitchen.
It sounds like you have
so much
quite a bit of
noise.
experience in this.
Dude, I get texts from the bedroom at like 11:30. What are you eating now? Damn it.
Margaret is sacrificing her sleep for the sake of your Oreos.
For her Oreos. That's the problem. She's like, they're not going to be any left. But, so I think people kind of get a little self-righteous about stuff when they're putting in effort into something else. So I don't see it as a real sacrifice. If your time on the mat or your time at the gym, because you have a goal, is taking away from other things that are important, then yes, it's a sacrifice. If your objective at work is to keep moving up, and you're missing, you might not even realize that it's a sacrifice in the beginning, but you're missing your kids' events or your spouse's events. There'll be a time when you're like, oh, oops, I did miss all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have what I wanted and I met my goal. Was it worth it? Well, who knows?
That's up to the person.
It's up to the person, right? Yeah. So, but when to get back to Neil, when you're on the mat with your professional fighters and instead of just watching them go with someone, you're there and you're getting choked out and you're getting busted up and your knees aren't working and, you get your toe cut off. Listen to the episode. You might, those are some real tangible sacrifices. He put himself, did he need to? I don't know. With the people that did those people achieve things that they wouldn't have without him doing that? It's hard to say. But those are real sacrifices. He put himself through something, gave up a lot. He talked about what he's given up or what he doesn't have because of it. So those are real sacrifices. I don't think anytime you're making, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. I was going to say that anytime you're making improvements in yourself, it's not a sacrifice. But I think that, there are things absolutely that,
I think it boils down to the fact that, we have to be selective about what we do, where we invest time, our efforts, and our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we are at the points where we have to give things up. There are important in our lives because other things take over. And that's, I think, where the sacrifice comes in.
Right. Right.
And sometimes it could be in the shape of time. Sometimes it could be a shape of money. Sometimes it could be in the shape of effort or health. I mean, it comes in different shapes and sizes, but the impact is not visible at this point of time, but it might be visible in the future. I think the challenging part behind all of this is that it will vary from person to person to person. It's all about perspective of that individual.
Right.
So one thing I'm going to say right up front, stop caring what other people think and just do what works for you, as long as you know what the consequences are and you're achieving what you want to achieve with life. No. I mean, that's it, because ultimately, who cares what your sacrifices are? As long as you're okay with them.
Yeah.
As long as you're okay with them.
In that aspect, yes. But and I see it a lot in our community. And I see it a ton on social media and stuff too, that outside of jiu-jitsu, but it's like, I don't have to apologize for who I am. I don't have to apologize for what I'm doing. Well, if you're being an ass, you do, if I don't care what other people think of me, well, that's great if you're not treating anyone else poorly in the process. So you can have that attitude, but don't have it if your sacrifices are hurting other people. Well, then you need to re-examine what you're doing, I guess. So yeah,
yeah.
Find out what's important to you, what's important to them, figure something out, and then you can make things according to that discussion. If instead of missing everything, these are the important events coming up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make these, and these lesser ones, I'm not going to be at. And hopefully whoever you're discussing it with will understand, and whatever you're missing, the people that you're missing things out, or who are missing out on you, will understand too, I think
it's all about the balance.
It is, and I think that sometimes we talk a lot of people that are they're achieving things that 99.9 of the population won't, right? Whether it's winning championships or just competing at the highest level. We know that there's a level of selfishness there that they have to have
in order to achieve that.
Right. But if you're talking about everyday people, well, then I think that selfishness does become selfish, because what you're trying to obtain, no matter what your perspective is, isn't as hard to do. So I think that you have to, at that point, you need to start being a little selfless.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good perspective.
Right. I'm going to go eat some Oreos.
Don't cut your toe off.
No, I'll keep the toes. I'm going to keep my toes. Pinky toes are kind of useless, but I'm still going to keep them. All right. Are we done?
Later.
All right. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.